Okay, we had pretty good smoke coming out of the eaves and the roof.
We have that under control. We're going to check for ignition right now.
Okay, command's clear. 2 separate garages. For that apartment up in the front, give me a secondary.
If you believe that communication is the key to success, well then you've downloaded the right show.
Attention all Marion County fire units and stations. Authority of Public Safety Communications. All stations go to Day Watch.
Thanks for downloading the Day Watch podcast. I'm your host, Eric Bannister, and as now tradition, we are doing our FDIC 2025 podcast with the Editor-in-Chief of Fire Engineering, David Rhodes. David, welcome.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
It is great. Thank you, sir. April 7th through the 12th, FDIC this year, and it's going to be a good one. So let's talk about FDIC.
Absolutely. We're excited to be back again, and crews are in full work mode. They have been for probably about 2 weeks now, getting all the site prep stuff done for the hands-on training, and we're ready to roll. We've expanded quite a bit this year with some more offerings, so we get into that a little bit.
Sounds great. We also got Matt Stewart in the office with us, soon to be out of the office. Happy days for Matt. He's allegedly for good reasons. He's not. We're not kicking him out. He's just doing different things. He's kicking himself out. Are we ready for FDIC?
We are ready for FDIC.
I know we got a lot of hands. A lot of people participate in that show.
Yep. We've always been part of the Indy team.
Absolutely.
I think we've been a big part of that, and it's a good time for everybody. You know, we've been heavily involved in the logistics and some of the operational pieces of it, and it's an exciting time for the city and Wayne Township specifically. It's just a great opportunity.
So I've been in the fire service as a career guy for almost 26 years now. I've been in 32 years as a between volunteer and career, and I've only been to one FDIC that was not here. It was in Cincinnati for a moment. It's been with us for over probably 30 years now.
I think 95 was the first year here when IFSFI still had it, and then 97 was the first year that Penwell had it, and then that's when I started my affiliation with it. And then I guess last 6-7 years we've been Clarion events.
Yeah. It's always been well run. It's folks that just show up to FDIC, which is great. They just show up, they get their badge, and they go enjoy their time. And whether it's a HOTS class or it's just going around and looking at the exhibits, but there is a ton of work. And pretty much you guys started working on this last year as soon as this show wrapped up. So talk a little bit about what it takes to, one, put this show on, but then two, let's talk about what it takes to be a participant, to actually be a part of the show.
Okay. Well, to put it on, obviously we couldn't pull it off without all the tremendous local support. There's 80 to 100 people working in the logistics and operations section just to pull off the hands-on training, which is probably the biggest logistical part. So there's apparatus needs, there's driver needs, and it would not be FDIC. I have to say, it would not be FDIC without the LORACs.
That's true.
I mean, the LORAC.
The soon-to-be-retired LORAC.
Yeah. Ted
Currently
Moore.
Retired.
Well, that's true, technically.
Is our man in orange. And he takes care of our facilities and stuff for us year round. So it's always good. I mean, and we've talked about it before, but you kind of have become have this second, third family or whatever, because of the relationships you build over the years. And I was supposed to be here in 97 and got sick and had to cancel. So 98 was my first year. And then around 2002, 2003, transitioned out of being an instructor to a manager for the HOT program, and that's when I really got to start knowing a lot of the local people. And so, but yeah, we planned from about the end of July all the way up until about March is all planning phase. Then March actually starts the receipt of goods and lock down the sites that we're going to be using and get all of that paperwork done and a lot of the administrative stuff, and then start coordinating all the local resources and apparatus. And I want to say we were somewhere around 5,000, 6,000 local people that are allowed to participate in the training. And that's one of the benefits to the community is like they're getting the opportunity to attend the conference comped, and it's because of the trade out of the cooperation and the use of facilities and things like that. So try to make it a win-win for the local team to send people, and there's, you guys seen it. They send whole recruit classes, and sometimes the recruits actually work on the event in different capacities. Then we have a whole team of safety officers, to make sure we're meeting all the standards and doing everything correctly. And then the logistics team is just nonstop for
that's
about
the
3 weeks. Right. And then the magic is that all of that equipment comes in, and we're talking, hundreds of breathing apparatus, hundreds of radios, hundreds of thermal imaging cameras, and they're all tracked. They're received, tracked, and then shipped out to 30 plus different locations, and then gathered back within about a 12 to 16 hour period, and then sent back to their rightful owners. So the turnaround time is just unbelievable. Like within 48 hours, that equipment is either on its way out or it's already been delivered back to where it's supposed to be.
And that's a testament to the support system you guys have, because if that was not the case, there'd be fewer and fewer people wanting to donate their products to help you with the operation, because that's a lot of money.
You may want the medical component too is pretty resilient.
Yeah, our medical team has field cars out ready to roll. There's always, anytime you're looking, we have 7,000 students in this thing. So you're going to have a cut finger, a sprained ankle, a twitched back, those typical type injuries that happen. And so fortunately we have the medical cars that are out as part of the safety team as well. They got doctors on board, so it's your medical directors that are local, your ER type folks. They're doing field evaluations on folks to determine if further analysis and tests are needed to check these folks. And 95% of them result in basically what we know in the fire service as a patient refusal, but they get checked out. Maybe they, got overheated or whatever. And that's a tough part for the team to manage, because there's really no requirements on who can take what classes other than you're a certified firefighter. So you've got everybody from the CrossFit champion of the United States to a guy that struggles to, get his gear on.
They mistake
in
croissant for
some
CrossFit.
Places, and there's no age requirement. So you have to really be careful and watch all types and make sure that there's something for everybody to get out of it. But the pace, that's a tough one for the instructor.
Right. Well, talk about instructors. The instructor to student ratio for your live fires and your physically demanding trainings are really good. You got eyes on everybody, and because of that, you don't really know who you're dealing with until you start seeing them work, and they might not know what they're capable of until they go to work like that. So that's a tremendous.
Obviously, we have medical on site for those, and hydration requirements, just all the stuff that's in place, and making sure we meet 1403 with all of those classes is a big responsibility, and we couldn't do it without the entire local support. And obviously, everybody thinks of Indianapolis proper, but it really goes all the way out to Illinois Fire Service Institute. It's like, it's all the townships, all the surrounding area, their fire academies, their staff and crew support it, and it's good. We're really embedded in the community here.
And the other thing is, sometimes this is the only training a lot of people that come here get.
Yep.
Their agencies can't supply it, whether it's combination departments, some career, volunteer. This is the only chance they get to get this type of training one time a year. So
folks tell us that it's like the only place they can get live fire training, and those live fire classes, we open registration in October, and they are completely sold out within 3 weeks. And you're talking a lot of different classes. So that's one thing we're expanding our hot program based off of our attendee feedback. It was like more hot. And we're like, man, we're kind of maxed out on Monday and Tuesday. So we started the hot workshops, which are a couple hours of class and then a couple hours of hands-on things that you can do in the parking lots, parking decks around town. You can flow water, stand pipes, Vance hose up stairwells, things like that. So we've expanded hot this year to where we're actually doing classes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's no live fire yet, but we're seriously considering adding live fire classes to like Thursday, Friday for the 2026 FDIC.
Yeah, for sure.
So that we can get more.
Up.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
We just had 40 firefighters from Saudi Arabia sign up 2 days ago.
Wow.
And they wanted live fire. It was like, oh,
yeah.
Sorry, those sold out in October. But, that's how in demand it is like they want to come over here to take the live fire training and all. So we'll try to open those up and do a few more sessions. I'm also partnering with some of our exhibitors like Lion and some of those that make training props that we can do some live fire on site in the parking lot. Obviously, it would be like a Class B type prop, but
right.
Sometimes that's better than what the people can get elsewhere. So look for another expansion. Another expansion.
Well, every time we talk, even back when Bobby Holton was in here talking to us, there was always growth.
Yeah,
and that's if it doesn't grow, it gets stale, and you'll start seeing that reflected in attendance for sure.
Right.
So back to some of the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, you went back to doing some stuff we did a long time ago, which was pretty much doing some hot combination or hybrid classes in the dome or in the dome. How old am I, right?
Yeah.
In Lucas Oil Stadium. You're doing that again this year?
Yep.
And we're expanding that out a little bit?
So we have a couple of things going. One is the actual formal, what people would know as the hot workshops or hot classes. We have several during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've got a urban rigging hot class that's going to be going on inside Lucas Oil Stadium up in the superstructure of the roof there. So that'll be going on at the same time that the exhibits are open. Even so, people will see folks doing some highline work and all in there. We have a high-rise class with Dave McGrail going on Thursday in the state parking deck across the street from ICC. We've got mid-rise mayhem with Steve Robertson and Todd Edwards, and they're actually going to be doing work in the hallways and stairwells in Lucas Oil Stadium. And several other pieces are going on. You have the UL group has their water flow prop out in the parking lot for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They'll be constantly teaching. And then in addition to those type classes, Mike Champo's doing his truck company class on Friday.
Look at it.
So those are always been Monday, Tuesday opportunities. So we've opened up those opportunities. Mike's keynoting as well on Wednesday. And so then we have what we call the drill yard, which is we converted the end zone of the field in Lucas Oil Stadium into basically a drill yard like you would find for a training academy. Started it last year, and we had a one-story digital burn building, which has digital panels and theatrical smoke and stuff. It's for reps and stretching hose, movable walls. This year that went to 2 stories. So there's an exterior stairwell, and you're able to get more evolutions. You can actually throw ladders up against the second floor and windows and stuff. And we have a 3-story training tower that'll be in that area as well. And that area is a combination area for exhibitors to come and actually teach. So Elkhart will be doing their program in there again this year. Their brass tacks and hard facts. They've got that going, so they'll be stretching lines into the tower and into the burn building and talking about different techniques. We've got some forcible entry teams that are teaching forcible entry classes. A first this year is we have Kurt Isaacson's team, County Fire Tactics. They've got a session every day in there that's a sponsored session of hands-on drills, and those are all free. So if you pay for the expo or you have a conference pass, those are just classes you can walk up to or sign up for.
Well, that's good because you don't have to have your gear. You can kind of do that.
No, we actually have gear for you.
Oh,
so there's a tent.
There
All this is sponsored content. Okay. So like you can stand there and watch if you want, right, and see the techniques or if you can get as into it as you want and go outfit yourself with SCBA, full PPE, nice, and search and throw ladders and do forcible entry, cut locks. I mean, they're going to be running saws and noisy type stuff. And so it's full of activity. The whole idea with the Lucas Oil experience is that instead of just being your typical walk by booths,
right,
it's all interactive. So there's stages with panels discussion. There's a health and wellness area where different speakers will be coming on, every half hour or so to give a 10-minute talk about health and wellness. Everything from financial wellness to behavioral health to physical wellness. And then we have the medical area, the gyms area, where they're doing like hands-on training over there. So if you want to jump in on like the intubation station, like you can go put your hands on the equipment and actually perfect the technique or practice with the equipment. So that's the idea over there, is that everything's interactive. And then you got the outdoor area as well, which is we call it sort of the demo area. It's morphing a little bit more into the training and demo area as we grow those opportunities, but tons and tons of training. We used to look at the education session as pre-conference, Monday, Tuesday, hands-on workshops, regular workshops, and then you went to the classroom sessions Wednesday after main program through Friday lunch. Now we're going education the full conference length. So you have options. Yeah. Some people just want to come and look at exhibits.
Yeah.
Some people just want to come and do hot. And it's like, what's the old saying in business? Give the customers what the customers want. They've told us they want more training. So, and even to the point where in 2026, we always have 2 opening ceremonies, Wednesday, Thursday. I have canned the Thursday opening ceremony for 2026 next year in favor of adding 23 additional training classes.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And it's like, do people want to just come hear people talk, or do they want to train? And one opening is good. An opening is an opening. So we'll go to a longer opening on Wednesday,
right,
so we can get all the awards and the memorials and all that in. But then Thursday, hitting the ground 8:30 in the morning is a regular classroom deal. So.
Well, and also don't sleep on the lecture halls. There's a lot of great classes that you can come and attend that some of the instructors from the hot classes especially transfer into a lecture-based class, and they are really good. Again, when you're in those environments, you're around your peers, you're around people you're networking with people from all over the country, and there's 100 different ways to skin a cat sometimes, and it's kind of fun to hear. You think you may have a problem or you've got an answer. Well, the guy next to you has a similar problem with a much bigger department or a smaller department, and you can work that stuff out. It's a great opportunity.
Let me throw these stats on you real quick. 73 hands-on training evolutions, 44 hands-on training workshops, which are the hybrids, 55 regular 4-hour classroom workshops, 197 hour 45 classroom sessions.
Jeez.
And that doesn't count the drill yard and all of the other outdoor stuff.
Well, there is absolutely something for everyone.
And for the first time ever, we actually have a 4-hour workshop on Friday, totally in Spanish.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
And we've got about 50 people signed up for that. The idea is hopefully in trying to, again, meet some of the needs of our surveys, and a lot of our Latin America countries have said we want more training. And so these aren't like classes taught in English with an interpreter. They're straight up Spanish speaking instructors.
Yeah.
And the goal would be that hopefully next year, as the word gets out, we'll expand that to 4 hours of hands-on and 4 hours of lecture.
Well, for sure, FDIC, when we think about it, as an American Fire Service, but I've never gone to an FDIC ever where there wasn't a contingency from out of this country of firefighters or executive officers from other fire departments. Japan, I've seen obviously we've seen a lot of Middle Eastern countries showing up with their fire brigades, and it's that's not uncommon. And having a whole class delivered in their native tongue is a night and day different experience.
And we've partnered with a group that's a nonprofit that they're American firefighters, but they do a lot of work in the Latin American countries. And and so they have the network, and they're traveling, 5-6 times a year to go down and deliver training, and they're like, man, these departments are hungry for training. So with that partnership, we think we're going to be very successful in growing that. And I'm looking at the projection of 3 to 4 years down the road, we have 200 to 400 people that are just coming for the all Spanish
for sure
language training. So
for sure, yeah.
And it's you guys know how it is. I mean, so much can be lost in interpretation.
Absolutely.
And not only that, it doubles the time it takes to do it. So if we just go straight in, all out Spanish, then it's 100% effective for your time.
Yeah,
so. And you have to think, you're like, what else can we do? And then you get in to get the right people together, and you're like, man,
we can do anything.
Yeah, we have these summits now that are huge. We've got the Metro officers, which are like your second in command level fire department folks discussing personnel issues, tactical issues, supply chain issues, all the things that you guys deal with, health and wellness, all of that stuff. And that's, you're typically like your deputy operations and your deputy chief of logistics, they're not coming to take a hose stretching class or a search class. There are some that still want to engage in that, but like, what can we offer them at that executive level that helps them? And that's a peer run group. We've got the ARF Summit with the ARF Working Group that's talking aircraft rescue. This year, new is an industrial summit. It's a big untapped community, is the industrial firefighters that basically have Texas A&M, and that's kind of it for their training. So we have them coming in. And then for another first, we have a technology summit. And this was really, it filled up. They had to cut it off. It's a little over 200 people signed up for the technology summit. 4 hours. And again, I said, we're given choices. During opening ceremonies, there's training going on in the convention center. So like, you don't have to come to opening ceremonies. If you came here to train and not hear speeches, then that's fine. We want to give you what you need. You can watch the speeches back, at home on the internet if that's what you want. So they're doing 4 hours of technology training. Then they're coming out to Indy's training center and getting full-blown demonstrations of the technology, firefighter tracking system, AI-enhanced vision that draws the walls and the stairs and outlines the victims, and drones that can, have thermal imaging capabilities and things like that. EV car fire extinguishing agents.
Yeah, that's huge.
All of that. So that's going on Wednesday. And then we got the International Tall Buildings Conference within FDIC, conference in a conference. We got Women in Fire conference within a conference. And then we have this thing called the Officers Club. And this is where it's a mutual beneficial deal to, if you're coming to FDIC because you need to order fire trucks or you need to order rescue equipment or breathing apparatus, we know that ahead of time, and then we put the connections in the room together. So you've told us ahead of time you're needing to purchase breathing apparatus, so we get the breathing apparatus manufacturers in there with you in a small setting, over breakfast or over lunch, what have you, and you're totally left alone to have your discussions. So it's like a match, kind of a match service to match the resources.
Speed date.
Pretty cool.
I'll say the FDIC speed dating.
Farmers only, firefighters only. So yeah, lots of great stuff. And the expo, 870 something exhibits. All the outdoor area is full. All the indoor area is crazy. We have all the activities, the stair climb, the Fool's Bash, the NFFF stop, drop, rock and roll, the Firefighter Cancer Support Network 5K run. And for the first time ever, this was a big one, we are doubling down on our commitment for cancer prevention and safety practices in that realm of like decon. Each of the hot station live fire have full decon stations there. We have our sponsor Fire Wipes that provides fire wipes to all of the hot classes for use. We have the clear storage bags that you can put your turnout gear in, and then every person who signed up for live fire will get a free full-fledged gear bag, for you to tote your gear around in.
Nice.
And we've partnered with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network and Red Line Mobile Gear Cleaning to collect your contaminated gear on Monday night when you get back from the buses. We will store it for you, keep it out of your hotel room, put it back out in order of class you're taking on Tuesday morning, starting at 5 a.m.
Welcome to
and
logistics.
you can pick your gear up and go and finish your training on Tuesday, drop it back off to us, and then Redline Mobile Gear Cleaning has 6 or 7 mobile gear cleaning trucks on South Street. They will actually be cleaning the gear if you're staying and storing it for you until you leave. So if you don't leave until Friday afternoon or Saturday morning, you had to do a little reservation form.
Right.
And they'll have your gear waiting on you, fully laundered, and in some cases repaired if it's minor repairs.
Oh, wow.
They have the full sewing machine truck and everything out there. And this is the potential here is to store and clean over 1,000 sets of gear in a matter of a couple of days.
Wow.
And they took it on. So everybody has the opportunity not to take their dirty gear to the hotel room.
Right. That's spectacular because, I mean, a lot of folks are going to be Ubering around or taking the shuttle buses, and that's
another thing
that
they
is
don't
a
have to worry
whole other
about.
Thing full of, well, not carrying the gear around just logistically, but then we know what that means to take that gear from a fire scene into a clean environment, or we're starting to see more and more of that. So.
Just this project alone is requiring 10 vehicles and 45 people.
Wow, it's a big footprint.
So this never been done at any conference before, is to even attempt it. It's just we've talked about it for a couple of years, and it's like, I don't know, like how do. And of course, the biggest thing is that Tuesday morning turnaround, right? You got to distribute 800 to 1,000 sets of gear, so you've got to have your act together and have a plan. So we've been working on the plan for 3 months. So we're ready to execute.
If anybody can pull it off, you guys will definitely.
We'll figure it out.
Pull it off. That's for sure. There's a lot also going on in Indianapolis outside of FDIC, and because of FDIC, the local taverns and the eating establishments step up their game a lot with more people. So they're ready to take on that volume. And Indianapolis in general, if you're not familiar with Indianapolis, we are a convention center town. Not unlike Las Vegas, minus the slot machines. We are good at conventions. We're good at lots of people. We can move a lot of people around. If the weather's not great, you can pretty much be inside anywhere. So don't worry about weather issues if you're worried about that at all. It is Indiana. It will change. So if it's hot now, it'll be cold later.
Yeah. Tornadoes last night.
Sunshine
today.
And it'll be sunny today. So that's just kind of the way it works. It's always a good time to see people from out of town. And actually, for those of us who have been around a long time, there are regulars that come by. We expect to see them. If we don't see them, we're worried about them. Because we always have somebody that wants to come by and take a picture of a fire truck or say hi to you or go out and have a drink with you.
I mean, we've had people stay at our station.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Guys that come back and stay there and, do things like that to help on the budget to be able to get them here. And so those relationships have been built for years. So, we encourage anybody to do that. That's to come by and see a station or, do something like that. That's part of the deal.
You got the massed pipe and drum band too that is like there's people that come from all over the country to be a part of that massed group and people tell me all the time like that's one of their favorite parts is like the opening ceremonies with you got 100 folks in there with the band, and then those guys are like maniacs. Like they march in for the opening of the convention floor. They show up at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night in small groups of 10 or 15 in the bars and do impromptu deals. And man, it just gets your blood going.
They're very passionate
and even
about
through
it.
the
And they're
exhibit
really
halls and all that, they're playing, walking up and just marching around through the halls and the classes and things. So it's.
I usually meet them out Friday at the Union Hall and carry on that tradition. Bobby always went out there with Dugan and Jack Murphy and all, so we carried that on to keep that going. So they're like waiting waiting on me to get there for that short little parade around the corner and down into the Union Hall and into the tent. And I actually got to play drums last year. That was that was the highlight of part of my FDIC. Is I was an old elementary, middle school concert drummer, percussionist, timpani, and all that. So I had not played in a while, and so I was like, I think I could pick up on that. And dude popped me some drumsticks, and I watched him for a minute, and then he said, I saw as soon as you held the drumsticks, right? You must have had a little bit of experience. So it was fun. It was snare drum too. It wasn't the bass drum. It wasn't boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's probably more my speed, the big boom, boom, boom. Like I might be able to pull that off.
Man, it's just amazing, man, what they are able to pull off. And
well, I can tell you, one of our assistant chiefs, Courtney Rice, was a pipe major for 100 years. Literally, the guy never wore a Class A uniform. Everything we invited him to, he had to kilt on. Yeah. But the man practices, and even though he's got 30 years playing a bagpipe, he still practices, and he goes to competitions. And his group that he does here at the show, he does a bagpipe band class, and people sign up for. They sell that out quickly, but it's amazing the amount of people that want to participate in that, because there's so much you can do even as a small group. But we've got a lot of them here. They're really good, and they really, really, really enjoy being a part of FDIC.
And, when they go out into the city and stuff, like, for the people that are enjoying that, like, they'll take, obviously they want you to buy them drinks, so we encourage you to do that for them. But
100%.
They also take, they're all from so many different agencies, and a lot of those things are funded through donations and stuff. So
absolutely.
They take a lot of donations, and, when they're standing on the bar playing, go up and throw them a 10 or a 20 or something, because they split that up between all their agencies, and it helps them get here, and it helps them get to funerals and things like that.
And those instruments aren't cheap.
No, and they got to ship that stuff here. I mean, there's a lot of expense for a guy to get here from Texas or California or whatever. Yeah. So, feel free to have that on your radar and share a little bit of that with them.
So when I was here a few months ago, I saw Courtney, and I was like, "Hey man, have you seen? I saw this come across my feed the other day. Have you seen the? They have a digital bagpipe now. It's just the canter? Is that what they call it?" I said, "It's just the canter, but like it makes the sound, and that's so like you can learn your notes." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got a couple of those." Like he was like, he's all in it. But that's a great little training tool. Yeah. Now, if somebody wanted to start out, they can get those much cheaper than they get a set of pipes and start practicing with.
Well, so if you catch one of those guys sitting around not playing, just like waiting in between songs or whatever, ask them how to get into it.
But only ask them if you got about 3 hours to spare time.
Yeah, they're very excited about it. But you can certainly, if you have any interest at all in just slightest little bit of.
It's a tight-knit community.
Yeah,
it
is. It's awesome. But support them when you see them out, out and about throughout the city.
They're very much a part of the show. At a lot of our events, we have those pipers out there, and they're that ambiance. Yeah. They're the background that makes the show. You know it's FDIC time because there's bagpipes in the background.
Yep. It's not St. Patrick's Day, so it must be FDIC.
It must be FDIC. Yeah. We've talked quite a bit about it, and everything went well last year. I assume it was a
record year, over 36,000, and we're expecting about the same size crowd this year based on our reg numbers.
Can you give us a little bit of insight on what you're going to talk about at opening ceremonies?
Yeah. So this year's theme for me, kicking off the deal, is mission, service, and purpose. And we're talking about how fire department mission statements even have sort of drifted in a lot of areas, not everywhere, but there's a lot of corporate buzzword influences in a lot of the mission statements to where they almost become unrecognizable, because it was simple. Like when I came on, it was to save lives and property, and serve, to save lives or serve and protect, or simple things like that. That's such a powerful statement. Save lives and property, serve and protect. If that's your mission statement, then you know that you're into service and service of the community. And if you're into that, then that gives you purpose, because your purpose is to look for opportunities to serve. And it's not just fighting fire. It's carrying the little old lady's groceries out of the grocery store and helping her get into the vehicle, or changing a flat tire instead of blowing by and blowing the black diesel soot in their face on the side of the road. And so we're out and about in the community, and so there's like 100 opportunities to serve somebody. And with the newer generations and the problems we're having with recruitment and retention, I got focused on that as like, we used to get 1,000 applications for 10 positions.
Yep.
Everybody's saying now, like, okay, they got 10 positions. They're fighting to get 10 applicants. And so I'm like, is that a generational problem? What is it? And so as I'm talking to these younger guys, they're telling me what they're looking for is purpose. And I think once we got behind the 8 ball, or behind the times actually on our recruiting, and we just went to just taking applications, we quit inspiring people to want to serve. And so I'm kind of lecturing a little bit on how recruitment and retention is not necessarily a generational problem. It may be a culture, it is a culture and leadership problem. Like, recruitment's one issue, retention is another issue. If you don't have the right culture in your organization and you lose your own members in recruiting their friends and their folks, then you've lost the battle, because you're not going to get the right people or enough people by putting your flyers out and doing a social media post. You need that human connection.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be a brother or a cousin. It can be, but it can just be people you sort of like, man, you know what? You would enjoy the fire department. You need to come to the fire department. And if you lose that, then it's hard. And then once you get behind, you got retirements and you got the attrition issue going. So now you're having to hire 5 just to stay up with the 5 you're leaving, and you're not gaining back any of your vacancies. So I'm kind of hitting on that pretty hard. And then I'm hitting on, Mike Champo will be hitting on a lot of service. He's going back and kind of recapping his career, talking about from day boots all the way to the back page of the magazine. He's going to hit some of those points. And then we have something very, very big planned at the very end of opening ceremonies that I think people will really like. But it's highly classified at this point. But you definitely need to tune. Exciting. If you can't make it in person, it'll be live stream, so you can tune in on the FDIC and fire engineering websites and catch it. It's big, huge. All right. Well,
that sounds exciting. That sounds like a probably pretty good place to wrap this up. But I would agree, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you have an opportunity to serve.
Yep. To
be in service to your community. There's no better place to do it than in the fire department. So
100%. We don't want to spend all the time recruiting people only to find out that they just want to be here 2 or 3 years for an experience. We want to, if we do get lucky enough to recruit them, we have to inspire them to want to do this for a career.
Yeah, and I would say we, obviously the administrations and, political level and all that's a big part of that. But I think the biggest part of that is the firefighters that are riding the trucks and living in the stations and things like that. I mean, it's an effort from top to bottom. But, we had talked before about you got 2 guys on the back step. One can't stand coming to work and the other one can't wait to get there, because they have, and I think the point we had made in the past is everybody's here to serve, and are you here to serve yourself or are you here to serve the community? And if you're here to serve yourself, you are going to be the guy on that back step or the girl that can't stand coming to work. And that's
because all you want is a fire.
Yeah,
and
all
it's
you
for
want is
your
a
own
fire
kicks.
and a paycheck and some insurance and some stuff like that. But if you truly have that service mindset, and then that does lead to purpose, and all those kind of things. So it's definitely, it takes everybody to do it. But yeah, it's a people business. I mean, you're meeting people in their worst times, and that's hard. It's why it's hard on us to do those things. But the service part of it is, and your point, a lot of the mission statements, they don't reflect that anymore. And then that message is from the administrations that, we're focused on everything else but changing that tire and things like that. So
and we got to look in the mirror. Got to look in the mirror. And some people are doing it right. Some people aren't having these problems. But it goes back to that culture. And give you a little sneak peek of the line. I'm going a little Bobby Halton on one part. I'm even going to say, let me go Bobby Halton on you for a minute. Bobby was known of quoting the great orators and literary geniuses of the time. So I found a quote, and I'm thinking about, let's say there's a department that they can't get it with recruiting, they can't get it with retention, they're struggling, they're throwing money at the problem, and it still isn't working. And so I say, to go Bobby Halton on you for just a second, the great Greek politician and orator Demosthenes said it best when asked by the politicians in Athens, "Sir, what do we do about the downfall of society in Athens, Greece?" And he gave the most brilliant line of ever. He said, "Don't do what you're doing now."
Hey, sometimes it's simple.
Yep.
Sometimes it's simple.
Amen to that. There's no better opportunity for somebody to come and tailor the week.
Yeah.
A firefighter coming from local or out of town to tailor the week to specifically what training experience they want.
100%. And we
And
appreciate all the
every day. Yeah, they can do that.
appreciate all
So,
the support. And we know we're a pain in the butt to some people just because it's a big event and you're there, but take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always turn it into a great experience.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for downloading the Daywatch podcast. It is our sincere hope that this podcast increases communication and develops greater transparency between the administration and the employees. If you're not a member of Wayne Township Fire Department but have a suggestion for our show, hit the contact button at waynefire.org.